And hello, welcome to this video. So last time we were talking about a roadmap to help us understand this whole thing about model validation. Okay, so let's do some quick revision of classes before we talk about models, views, and controllers. So to help us with that revision, I will check out my Celsius temperature converter classes. Okay, I'm back here. Celsius temperature converter. So remember, if I do A, B, C, D, E and all this, it will say please enter a number, which is good, 22553, and then I will get 22553 degrees C equals 40,000 or so Fahrenheit. Okay, so we can of course add the how do you say, the Fahrenheit to Celsius converter. Of course we can add other converters as well, like miles per hour to kilometers an hour, or other useful things like that we can add to this test page, right? And we can keep populating the whole place with unit converters, and yeah, that will be quite nice to help us practice. Okay, so yeah, so we have this, we had this before. We had this input number, and then we had a submit button with the ASP page handler pointing to this convert function. Okay, on post convert, right? On post convert, it will just do all of these things. This conversion of Fahrenheit in degrees C to Celsius in degrees C to Fahrenheit in degrees F. Okay, so moving on, I just want to start the Fahrenheit to Celsius converter, and of course we can put other converters as well, because yeah, we want to revise what classes are. Okay, remember, classes for us, they are nothing more than a collection of functions. Okay, we can use classes to store functions, and we can use classes to store data as well. Okay, so let's make a few more functions here to make this thing a little bit more useful. F to C. Okay, I have the F to C, or even better, I can just copy and paste this entire class. Okay, copy and paste this entire class, and what I'll do is just rename it. Okay, F to C. Alright, F to C. I will take in an argument called temperature in Fahrenheit, and I will change this to degree C. Okay, to speed things up, I'm going to use a trick in Vim called change word. So when you're not in insert mode or anything, just press CW, and that will delete the whole word and prepare you for, you'll put you into insert mode. So it's temp, we want to change it to Fahrenheit, and then we'll need to change this formula as well. So F to C, right? So yeah, so temp C equals to, what's the formula here? Okay, if you search Google, it's temp, I need to put a bracket here, temp F minus 32, and then times 5.0 divided by 9.0. Why am I doing this? I want to make sure that we are having a double. We are having this as a double. Okay, next thing, it's over here. I'm going to change this word, change to temp C. Alright, because I want to round off. Then I can search the next pattern for temp C or temp F. Okay, the way to search is / temp F, and that will bring you to temp F. And then I can escape and change the word here, and I can change it to temp C. Okay, escape. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm changing the what do you call that? I'm changing the variables, because I'm converting temperature in Fahrenheit to temperature in degrees C, and then this is what I'm doing. Yeah, so of course, to repeat the command, I can use the dot command, and that would change the temperature in F to temperature in degrees C. These are tricks in Vim that I use to speed things up. Okay, a lot of people will do it as well. But if you want to do it the normal insert and delete way, you're more than welcome. This is just a way to speed things up. You do not have to use it to make Vim work properly, but it's a nice helpful tool for us to speed things up. Okay, so I will keep repeating these again and again. Hopefully you can get it in due time. Okay, so to copy and paste this. Okay, all right. So anyway, now first thing first, I have this Fahrenheit to degree C function. Of course, I can put other things here, like I can convert degree C to Kelvin, and Kelvin is the SI unit. So that's very helpful for us. But for purposes of this video, I'm not going to put so many temperature conversion functions here. We're just wanting to learn how to construct the website first before we deal with all these other data. So let's begin first by putting another set of buttons for us to click. So I'll just yank and paste, copy and paste this whole thing here. Okay, I'll have another input type and another input button, right? Okay, so remember, okay, classes are nothing more than a collection of functions and data which we can put under namespace, because namespace will help us to organize similar classes together. So if you want a what do you call that, mass conversion or speed conversion, force conversion, we can all put that here. Energy conversion. Alright, so so this one we will use, we can change words. I'm going to change this Celsius to Fahrenheit, and then I'll control and go left and right to shift between words. Okay, change word Celsius. Okay, Fahrenheit to Celsius. Okay, and this input types will be slightly different, and this submit type will be slightly different. Okay, so well, now we have two convert buttons. Let's deal with this thing first. We'll deal with the convert buttons, and then we'll deal with this maximum minimum thingy. Right? Yeah, how do we deal with it? Okay, so we still use the submit button. Still use the submit button. The value will still be convert, but the ASP page handler cannot be convert anymore. Or maybe it can if we use if loops to. Well, I've not talked about if loops, so I'm not going to complicate things here by doing if loops. I'll just say that, okay, let's trigger another function to work. We want a Fahrenheit to Celsius converter. So I'll call this ASP page handler F to C. Okay, and then we'll need to make a new function called F to C, right? Okay, so instead of OnPost convert, we'll have OnPost convert public void OnPost convert F to C. And remember this thing here. This is a function, and this is the class. And this class is part of this namespace called .NET test.pages. So it's under the pages namespace. Alright, so just so you know what's going on. We'll be working with classes and namespaces a lot, and then we can talk about models in our next video, because anyway, this working with classes and namespace will help to refresh our memory on classes, objects, and namespaces. Okay, so we'll have a OnPost convert F to C, and then we will write some functions here to help us convert things, right? And of course, to help us, I want to change this convert ASP handler into a convert C to F. So it'll be very specific. Convert C to F, because that's what we are doing. Converting C to F. But of course, if I type in numbers here, nothing will happen anymore. And in fact, if I just type convert like this on one or the other, it's like as if I need to type in I need to type in both numbers, like 12 and 12, in order to convert. But we'll deal with that problem later. You just want to point specific functions to specific values. I mean specific functions we want to point specific submit buttons to specific functions, so that at least you know it's a more robust thing. Yeah, so we have a convert C to F, so let's do a convert C to F. So convert C to F, this is a convert C to F, and let me save it. Okay, so if I type in 1 2 3 4 5 here, I should be able to get the right thing. Now, problem is this: if I leave this form empty at the bottom and I try to type convert on top, it will say please enter a number at the bottom form. Why is it so? It's because I'm using a submit button. Submit buttons actually require all the forms here to like be filled properly before we actually what do you call that? Ask the page to do something. Okay, so yeah, like submit buttons, like if you ever filled up forms before on Google or whatever, they will actually take in all your input across every blank box and everything, and then they will use all the data and put it to the server. They'll send the request over. Okay, so that means it's a bit troublesome if we every time have to type in two numbers, one here, one here. Okay, one here and one here. We want to type both of them over. So you know this thing is not going to work, right? Of course this thing is not working correctly in the first place, but we are talking about, hey, if I want to do 1 2 3 4 and then every time this thing pops up because the bottom form is not filled, we want to deal with that problem first. Okay, so there's an easy way around that. There's a very easy way. Instead of jumping through many loops, the easiest way is to just the easiest way is to just leave a default value of 0 in each box, so that you don't have to worry about typing all of this in. Okay, this is a workaround. It's very crummy workaround, but it works. Okay, so you see there's a default value of 0. If I type convert now, the convert function will work properly. Okay, so we have our buttons already. Okay, we have our buttons, and I guess I want to put this output data thing here in the form, and then I'll put it here as well. I'll put it here, yeah. So yeah, I'll of course have to change the inputs and outputs accordingly, so that it will make more sense, because both of them now are kind of messy. I just copied and pasted both of them. So let's just go through things step by step to make the buttons actually work properly. Okay, so we have a temperature in degrees Fahrenheit to degrees Celsius converter. Okay, so we'll go through some HTML revision about the input forms again. Okay, the type will be number, the step will be 1 times 10 to the minus 4, nothing wrong. This thing here called text temperature should not be text temperature anymore. I just want to call it temperature in Fahrenheit. Temperature in Fahrenheit. And the above, the text over here, I do not want to call it text temperature anymore. I need to call it text temperature degrees C. So I call this temp C and temp C, but this will mean that I will need to change some things in the next line of code, right? Because I can't just put temperature here, because then it will be very confusing later on. Does this temperature actually refer to temperature in degrees C or temperature in degrees Fahrenheit? Yeah. So we'll need to do some renaming. Okay, so every time I see this word temperature, the request form temperature, I need to change it to temp C. Right, temp C. Alright, so that should about work. Okay, so one takes in the temperature in degrees C, it'll take the ID text temperature C. Okay, yeah, temp C is text temperature C, the minimum and maximum is over here, and then there's a default value of 0. Okay, so let's take a look here. ID is text temperature F, name is temp F. Okay, we went through forms before. So the next thing we want to change is the minimum and maximum number for this for this what do you call that, degrees Fahrenheit. So what is absolute 0 in degrees Fahrenheit? Minus 459.67. That's the minimum value of temperature physically possible. Then what is the Planck temperature of things in degrees Fahrenheit? It will be about 2.55 times 10 to the 32. Okay, so here we can just put 2.55. Okay, so I'll just leave these things here. At least the code here should be okay, right? However, if you take a look here, the view data for the output here and here are the same, so we'll start to differentiate them. Okay, this should be maybe the output of C to F or something like that, right? C to F. So let's put C to F, and then this one I want to differentiate it by F to C. Okay, so at least I don't have the same data on top and bottom, so that when I convert degrees Celsius to degrees Fahrenheit, I should have data. I should have the data pop below here, and I want the data to pop below here when I change degrees Fahrenheit to Celsius. Okay, so that is that. So we actually prepared this form. So I went through very fast. Okay, what are we doing here? We are making two different submit forms. One is for the degrees Fahrenheit, one for degrees Celsius to Fahrenheit, one for degrees Fahrenheit to Celsius. Okay, so this is the HTML way of doing things, very manual, but it's easier to understand if you're doing it for the first time. Okay, so remember the way to display data is using this view data, and this view data is looking for this output C to F. So we'll need to define it in our function, the view data output C to F. Okay, so this temp F thing, I can like drop it out. I'm not using it anymore. But what we are looking for is here. So the output here is view data output C to F. Okay, C to F. Okay, and then if everything works well, I should be able to put 212 degrees Celsius. It will change to Fahrenheit for me very quickly. 873. Okay, minus 196 is the liquefaction temperature of nitrogen, I believe. Minus 320.8. Okay, so that's pretty good. Yeah, so this is a very good what do you call that, convert C to F kind of a thing. Pretty good. Now I want to repeat this for convert F to C. Okay, so let me clean this up first. I don't need view data temperature anymore. I'm not doing anything of that, and I'm just going to copy everything over here and paste. Okay, copy everything over here and paste, and I'll just do things differently. So first thing first, I define a string input, and I request from the form, instead of temperature C, I want temperature F. Okay, why? Because my name of this form input here is called temperature F, so my request form has to look for this temperature F thing here. So this will be stored inside this input string. Okay, and then this string is the temperature in Fahrenheit, so I want to make sure this is stored under a variable data that makes sense. Alright, let's see, temp F is already defined in this scope. Where is temp F defined? Oh, right, here is the thing, here's where it's changing. Okay, so anyway, we have to take in the temperature in Fahrenheit. We need to convert it here, and you see there's an error over here because temperature in Fahrenheit is actually defined over here and over here, which doesn't make sense at all. So we'll need to and it's also complaining that temperature in degrees C doesn't exist in current context because we just used the variable here without defining it. So we'll just need to make a few more changes. Okay, so we have a temperature in Fahrenheit. Next thing we do is to declare the temperature conversion object, which is this object, which is a copy of this class, and then we want to use the F to C method. Okay, so remember, to use the function in the class, we need to declare the object first, and then we can use the function there. So over here we say we want to get the eventual result, which is temperature in degrees C. Okay, then we have this conversion object, which is we pull this class from this namespace. So this is the class name, and then this is the namespace name. Okay, this is how you will do it if you want to do it manually. Okay, it's easier to understand because this class is under this namespace. That's why you have this dot over here to help you with that. So we have this conversion object. We want to change temperature in degrees Fahrenheit to degrees Celsius. I want to change it to 2 decimal places. Okay, and then I want to convert the degrees Fahrenheit anyway. So that's what I want. Temperature in degrees Fahrenheit, convert to 2 decimal places, and then we will assign that value to temperature in degrees C. Now, yeah, we'll just leave it as that first. I was thinking of making things a bit more convenient in terms of programming, but let's just do it properly. We'll just make this convert C F to C kind of a function here, and then we'll let the submit button deal with the thing. Okay, temperature in degrees C is this, blah blah blah. Then we'll create a string output, and then okay, we will say that the input which is a temperature in degree Fahrenheit. Okay, so this how much Fahrenheit is okay, is equals to the temperature in degrees C. So this is should be temperature in degrees C. Okay, and then the units of temperature in degrees C, of course, are degrees C. And then we want to assign this to the output F to C. F to C. So all of these are in capital letters. Okay, so you see F to C is over here. So hopefully the thing works. So let's try 123 degrees Fahrenheit, and then you'll get 50.56 degrees C. Now I type in a number here, 159 degrees Celsius. It will become 318.2 Fahrenheit. Okay, great. So we just basically make a copy of this. Okay, we just made a copy of this form submission here. We made a copy of this form submission, and then okay, we made a copy, and then of course we differentiated this temperature over here in temperature degrees C. We just rename the variables to differentiate this temperature from this temperature input. Okay, we assign a minimum and maximum value using the HTML way again. So let's just revision on the HTML form. Okay, and then we added a class over here a function in our page class, so that the submit button can look for this this specific function to run when you have multiple submit buttons. Okay, and then we also added a function to the class. So we have been working a lot with classes today, and we're working with HTML. So hopefully this gives you another example of how classes and objects work. So revision, remember, functions are a subset of classes. Okay, I mean classes, you can store functions, you can store variables as well. Okay, but for now we are just using it to store functions. I've not used it to store variables just yet. Okay, so yeah, you can use it to store functions, and you can use it to store variables, and we can do lots of other things with them as well. And then classes are parts of namespaces. Okay, and namespaces, yeah, are used to contain many classes of similar types. And to use classes, we need to declare object first before we can use the functions inside. So this is just a basic revision of classes, and through that we have just used this practice case to do a degrees Fahrenheit to degrees Celsius converter to just get another feel of how classes and functions work. Okay, so that's the manual way using C# and HTML to give us this form where we have this Celsius converter. 1200 degrees Fahrenheit is about 650 degrees Celsius. Then I put about 1002 here. It will be 2192 Fahrenheit. Okay, So very hot. Okay, so well, this is good. Maybe about 28 degrees C, 82 Fahrenheit. Oh, that's pretty hot. Yeah. This is just something for weather conversion and all, but yeah, hopefully this helps to refresh your memory on what classes, namespaces, and objects are. I'll see you in the next video where we can start talking about models, views, and controllers.